Get the microphone on here. What's up, guys? Welcome to week number 2 of the GGBL podcast. And it's going to be a fun one, I think. It's going to be a fun one. We've got some things to cover, especially June call-ups, June call-downs. So we're going to take a look at each and every team across the GGBL. Who's getting the call up? Who's getting the call down? Will we see some custom prospects in that mix? That's going to be at the very end, the very tail end of the show tonight. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to get you guys in the chat involved in this one today. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the GGBL for the first 2 weeks of year number 2. I have been just on Twitch, just watching the games, even though week 2 was a little bit of a kind of a dud, in my opinion. It was kind of all sizzle and no steak. Let's just call a spade here, right? Opening day was great. And leading into week 2, I was thinking that we were going to get a little bit more of the same. And it just didn't really happen. I mean, there were some good games sprinkled in there, but for the most part, 7 games we did on Friday night. And I just felt like, I was left a little bit wanting a little more. We didn't have as much drama. We didn't have as much oomph behind week number 2. So I guess that's what happens in May, right? But here we are. We're in June. I'll give you guys a statistics updates today, standing updates. I'll give you a little custom prospect update. We'll take if you're here watching, we'll get your custom prospects requests. If you want to see their statistics, we can look at those. But for the most part, the podcast will cover today with Scott Fitzko, a GGBL reporter, the beat writer. And we're going to be talking about each team's moves ups and moves downs. Those words. Call ups and call downs. So how's everybody's nights? How's everybody's nights going? On a Wednesday night. Rashad Bolden's in the house. Juicebox is in. Procrastinator changes his logo every 2 weeks. It's hard to keep track of him, but he's in here. PSJB is in here. My moderator. Thank God there's a moderator here tonight. Juicebox is hell yeah. Kenny Ferris is here. Corey Karhoff is here. What's up, my friend? Corey Karhoff. Phoenix, New York game was fireworks show. It was. Lucas Amarillo, Amazing Kook, War Thunder Dude. Nice. Procrastinate. I always change it in Discord a lot. Bum my Red Sox lost. Ugh, they lost again tonight. They lost again today. Did they already play? I haven't even been paying attention. I've been just too busy trying to get this thing out. You can always find the Bradley Van Pelt on YouTube. Oh my God. You and your obscure, meme professional athletes, pro. All right, guys. Well, we got 14 people in here, and I think it's about time we get started. So I'm going to pose the question to you guys. What did you think about week 2? In your opinion, is this a sign of things to come for the GGBL? Are we going to was opening day kind of an outlier? Was it just so good that it literally set the bar too high? I don't remember games like that from year number 1. I remember more of the games like what we saw last week on Friday happening a little bit more often on year 1 streams. So kind of let me know what your thoughts were on that. We'll read the chat. We'll get your guys' pulse on the GGBL for week 2 action. Now, I want to also ask you a question here too. What was the one thing that stuck out to you in week 2? Was it a specific team struggle? Was it a specific player struggle? Corey Karhoff made a really good point. And that leads into the next section here, what I wanted to talk about real quick. Was kind of going into that theme that week 2 was all sizzle. We'll do a little ASMR here, right? It's all sizzle, no steak. All sizzle, no steak. Where is it? Where's the meat? Where's the meat potatoes? We need something here. We need some substance. Didn't really get it. Shevchuk versus Letterman. The two custom prospects. We had Alexei Shevchuk last week talk to the media, talk to Scott Fitzko about how I need more playing time as the number 1 ace role over Casey Mize. Now, I kind of beat him down a little bit. I gave him a little bit of a rubbing. A little bit of a ribbing. You guys get what I'm saying here, right? So I gave him a tough time. I gave him a hard time. That's what she said. I can't help it. Guys, Alexei Shevchuk struggled in the playoffs. He was good in the first half of year one. He was good. And then the playoffs happened, and, you know, whether you want to blame it on arm fatigue or you want to blame it on the fact that he's a rookie, he's young, he's going to have those blow-up innings. You know, you can give that to him. You can punt that to him, right? Well, he comes in opening day thinking that he is the number one starter. And he's got a pretty tough matchup at home. 20-5. Remember, Phoenix was 20-5 at that point. And all the hype, all the hoopla was surrounding this matchup with Elior Letterman. He was 4-0. He hadn't lost yet. He was tossing a bunch of quality starts. Like, Elior was on pace, on trajectory to, like, really have a good game. Well, it didn't turn out that way. It was a dud. That pitching matchup was an absolute dud. I thought we were going to get something where we were going to get like an ace versus ace potential matchup. Now, these two custom prospects probably think that they're the aces of their staffs, and they probably want to be that someday. But the way that they pitched, the way that they performed in that matchup, I think the nerves got to them in that one. And we'll take a look at Alexei Shevchuk's stats here going forward for the rest of the month, and we'll see what he's entering June with and see if is he really number one ace material. So that's something to think about here. We've also got another struggling custom prospect, which is Kenneth Alexander Jr. for Seattle. What is wrong with Kenneth Alexander Jr.? He's a sim god. He's a sim god. He hits well in simulation, over 300 at this point. I'll give you an update there, but man, just some things to think about is in gameplay, do we have an issue with KAJ for Seattle? Guy that they really lean on. Is that kind of why we're seeing Seattle not take the next step? He's a young guy too, but when you've got as much talent as you do, it's time to pull the big boy pants up and get it done. Is Pittsburgh a true number one team? They're first place in the AL East at that point when we simulated, when we watched those games on Twitch. But when we simulate, I'll give you a standings update here a little bit later too. But is Pittsburgh a true number one? They beat Carolina, and they beat them pretty good until the ninth inning where they gave up 6 runs. Carolina, are they a true number one? How do you get beat by Pittsburgh that badly and then have to rally in the ninth, just kind of like you tried to do against Richmond and couldn't quite get over the top? So is Carolina kind of having a little bit of a championship hangover from year one? And then, of course, Richmond, where is the offense, right? We tried our best. We were trying to hit Nashville's pitching, and we couldn't do it. The bullpen was really solid in the user gameplay. We also went up against Josiah Gray. That was a little bit of a struggle, too. We started off well, and then we got real cold. Towards the middle part of the innings, late innings, we got cold and ended up biting us in the butt. So what did we really learn? What did we really learn from week 2? Being that it was kind of a little bit of a dud. This one was a little hard for me to try to figure out the storylines here going into this podcast tonight. But I think, at least from what I learned, and I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say as I'm opening this discussion up and we can talk about it. What I learned is that Bendito Ramirez for New York, the Pizzazz, he's the rookie of the year. Hands down. If he keeps up this pace, he is the rookie of the year. No doubt about it. There's only a couple other guys that might challenge for that title, but I really don't see it. I think this is a guy that, as an outfielder, he's going to play mostly every single day. He's got the speed, he's got the skill set, he's got the contact. He's hit 2 home runs in gameplay. We saw him on opening day against Atlanta hit a home run. Saw him in the second game here against Letterman, hit another home run. So Bendito Ramirez seems like he's got the tools to be the rookie of the year. He's my pick for AL rookie of the year, if not GGBL total Rookie of the Year. Juan Soto. Let's talk about Juan Soto. His pace right now is legit. Hitting .506 to end the month of April. We're going to find out where he ends up starting June, but in May, he kept up that torrid pace, and he's looking like he's going to win the MVP. There's still a lot of baseball left to be played, but it's pretty legit, man. I don't know how you can hit .506 and not be legit. So watch out for Juan Soto. The good boys have bad problems. Our offense, we are, just like I mentioned in the preview video, we are relying on number 5, number 6 hitters, Michael Ruth and Joshua Tora, 2 rookies. We're relying on these guys to step it up and be a big piece of this lineup. We're going to have to make a trade at the July 31st trade day for the GGBL to kind of get this offense over the top. You know, it's not looking too hot right now. And the last piece of information that I want to give to you guys about what I've learned from week 2 is the Columbus Cardinals are the real deal. And I'm going to show you their pitching staff right now, because once we get into this, we're going to take a look at those statistics. And again, I'm just wanting to know your guys' thoughts here as well about, you know, what we're seeing across the league. So let me get to those comment section here. See what we got, what you guys are talking about. GG9 ASMR. Current Uptime says hello. Sports Game and Josh says, I thought Shevchuk would look better. He also says Burnsides are probably my favorites on the Coyotes. KJ Ferris says boo. MLB The Show for PC now says Hiago. I wish. War Thunder Dude, trading for a power hitter will help Richmond's offense. I would agree with that. Corey Karhoff, hashtag Bandito Mania. Sequestral's in here too. We got 2 moderators in here. So, what do you guys think? What have you guys been thinking about the GGBL storylines here today? I'm anxious to hear that. But as those comments start flooding in, let's really quick talk about Columbus, because they are looking like they've got the makings of that first place team in the AL Central. Take a look at the pitching staff right now. Dieve Garcia, 51 Ks, 12 walks, 308. He's pitching great. Matthew Liberator, 305, 129. Mark LaPierre is a number 3 starter, getting upwards of 4, but it's a good solid whip for him. That 0 velocity, he's still pitching well. We've got Daniel Espino, who is 6-1, 71 strikeouts, 30 walks, 395. Tyson Miller, 272, 101. And Matthew Thompson is the lone anchor of this pitching staff. Bullpen, Tommy Hunter, 3 1/3. He's not even being used. They're really going with Will Harris as their closer. I have changed that because Tommy Hunter comes over to this team getting 52 saves for New York last season, and he's got to be the closer. Just has to be. Noah Ramirez, .92, .97, lights out. Silvino Bracho, 4, 144. Oliver Perez, 5 2/3. They haven't really even need to use their bullpen because they've got guys like Tyson Miller, Matthew Thompson carrying the load back there. So I really like Columbus. I think that they're a legitimate looking team in the AL Central for sure. See if you guys are saying anything here in the chat. GGBL has been pretty good, says Lucas. College football is really addicting. Pro. It's GGBL time. Get with it. Columbus rotation is dealing. Oh my God, says Pro. There we go. So he's back. He's back. He's back on planet GGBL. All right. Next section, boys and girls. Next section. We are going to talk about the Fantasy Challenge results. We got to kind of move through this podcast today because we actually don't have a ton of guests. And that June call down section where we go over 30 teams is going to take a little bit of a time. So let's talk about the Fantasy Challenge results and the Fantasy Preview. Fantasy Preview and Challenge results. So here we go. Let's load up the spreadsheet here. There we go. All right, so this is who won in week number 2. And I'll go over the results with you guys. But Aiton Letterman Won it all. Faintest 9 came in second place. Actually, all the guys in gold. We had a four-way tie for first place. These guys all had 5 points. So starting with Aiton Letterman and then Marcus Borno. All of you guys had 5 points. 6 through 9 had 4 points. So you guys all had to compete against each other for the tiebreaker. So let's go ahead and take a look at the results really quick. So we've got Boston Revolution are the winners over Michigan. Columbus wins over Minnesota. Tough team, Minnesota. Again, this is why I really like Columbus. Seattle over Washington is an interesting matchup, but Seattle ended up getting the win. We also had Phoenix beating New York. Pittsburgh beating Carolina. Now, that was a tough one. So you guys that really went out on a limb, I think this is what really won you the custom prospect for this season, is that you guys picked Pittsburgh. You went against the grain. We even had some people voting for Nashville, which was interesting to me. St. Louis beats the Breeze. This game here, the Las Vegas Nuggets and Colorado Coyotes, that game was not shown. It was a bonus game. I was kind of on the fence about it, having enough time to show it anyway, so I just did not count that one. And then this one, which former Astros teammates will total more bases? Would it be Bregman? Would it be Correa? Neither of them had a hit, so they had no total bases. So this question didn't even apply. Nobody got any points for that one. So thanks to those guys. They must not have been cheating today. James Monroe, 7 strikeouts in that Week 2 matchup against the Washington Swamp Monsters. So he is the one custom starting pitcher that pitched, that had the most Ks, so he got the point there. And at the end of May, which NL Central team will be in first place? Well, we are in the month of June, and the Houston Copperheads are in first place. So if you guys voted for the Houston Copperheads, you got credit for another point. And then the tiebreaker was how many total strikeouts will all custom starting pitchers have in the Friday streams? That total was 18. Now, I can't get it to cooperate here, but the total was 18 strikeouts. It's still not going to let me do it. You freaking Google Sheet. You Google Sheets. It was 18. Just trust me. Just trust me. It was 18. So here you go. We had a 4-way tie for 5 points. We had a 4-way tie for 4. And you can only award top 5 people. And both the tiebreaker guys had 18 as their tiebreaker. You can see the green marker there. That would be the 18 strikeouts that those guys guessed. And that's your final look. So Aiton, Faintest, Michael McNichol, Marcus Borneo, Manus, and Q King. You guys won a custom prospect for this season. Now, keep it in mind, guys, and unfortunately for Shane and Keneal, you guys tied with 4. You didn't get the tiebreaker, so you don't get the credit. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let's try again this week. Now, I want to show you guys the fantasy predictions for this week. If I can get that up and ready to go here. This will be linked. I'll link this to you guys after we talk about it. And I think you guys can see that screen. Let's take a look on YouTube, see if you guys can see that. Sweet. All right, cool. I'll zoom in real quick so you guys can see this. But here are your week 3, year 2 fantasy challenge propositions and games to pick on. So these are going to be my picks. These are going to be who I think is going to get the win. Now, you can take that with a grain of salt. We'll do a little preview with it as well. But this is what I think is going to happen. So Portland against Miami. We got Ross Stripling against RJ Dixon. I'm going to go with Miami here. Portland seems like they are on the rise a little bit, and I'll show you the standings here really quickly. But the reason we're showing this game is, A, we haven't seen Portland yet, and B, they've got Ross Stripling, which gives them a really good chance to win. And Miami playing a little 500 baseball here. It seems like a pretty good matchup to lead us off with. I'm going to go with Miami, though. They've got a really good offense. Granted, Portland's got Rizzo. They've got Starling Marte. Going to be a tough matchup for Miami, but I think they're going to be able to handle it with RJ Dixon. Next matchup, LA against Phoenix. Janiel Rivera gets his first start in gameplay on a stream against Zach Logue. I'm going to go with Phoenix. I think what we saw with LA against San Francisco, I think it's going to rear its ugly head in gameplay. Janiel Rivera has a knuckleball. He doesn't have a lot of velocity. He's more that control break type of pitcher, that crafty little lefty. Two-way player, all the buzz, all the hype in the world, but I think Phoenix is going to get it done at home. It's going to be another offensive shootout for sure. Both teams can hit. I'm going to take Phoenix in that one. This one, who wins? Seattle against Las Vegas. So this is a cool one because we get to finally see Nolan Mitchell, which is a custom prospect pitcher for Seattle. We have never seen him in gameplay. We get to now, and it's a tough matchup between two teams that I thought was really going to compete in the AL West, being Seattle and Las Vegas, but I will take Las Vegas in this one. I think Braylon Marquez is a good pitcher. I think he might have a little bit more upside than Nolan Mitchell. And just knowing how Seattle plays in gameplay, and they're on the road, I think Las Vegas is going to win this one. Not by much, but I think they'll get the win. Houston against Indiana, a first-place team in Houston against Indiana. This is going to be a tough one. We got Hyunjun Yang against Jeremiah Port. This is a custom pitcher for Indiana, Jeremiah Port. I think the Houston Copperheads will win. I think they're just a stronger team. Indiana's got some good things going for them. I think they're a little too young. I think Houston gets the win there. Columbus against Nashville. This one is going to be interesting because the Nashville Heat, they might not be in first place, but they are playing some dang good baseball. And Columbus is too. First place in the Central right now. That's a tough matchup, guys, but I think Columbus will end up getting the win here. I think their offense is just too good with Francisco Lindor. Nashville does have Ketel Marte, so kind of two similar comparative players as far as talent and skill goes. But I think Columbus is just really good with their pitching staff. They'll get it done. But if you want to go the other way, you can. Nick Margevicius, less than a run in an ERA right now. Crazy. Again, we'll get a little stats update here too a little bit later. But New Orleans against Colorado. We have not seen Colorado in gameplay yet. Now is a perfect time to watch them at home against Zach Wheeler. Tough pitcher they got to face. Is Zach Wheeler going to be able to get it done in Colorado? Very tough matchup for him. We'll see what he's made of, but I'll take New Orleans in this one. This team can also hit. They even though they're on the road, it is Hitter's Ballpark in Colorado. I think that they've got the advantage here with Zach Wheeler on the mound. So I'm going to take New Orleans to getting a road victory. How many strikeouts will Janiel Rivera get for Los Angeles? How many is he going to get? I'm going to say 4 or less. I just think in gameplay, CPU makes a lot of contact. I'm going to go with 4 or less. I think that the lack of velocity for Janiel and so the surprisingly good hitting from Phoenix is going to get a lot of contact. I'm going to say 4 or less for Janiel. Will Kenneth Alexander Jr. hit a home run against Las Vegas in the gameplay on the stream on Friday? I think he will. I'm going to say yes. I think he has to. I don't think we've seen him hit a home run in gameplay from year 1, now year 2. I don't think he's hit a home run yet. It's been bad for KAJ. So I'm going to kind of buck the trend here and go yes. Next question, final question. Nick Margevicius is currently 6-0 with a .75 ERA and a sub-1 whip. He plays against Los Angeles before we see him against Columbus. So he does have one game until we get to see him in gameplay. So his ERA might go up a little bit once we see him. But aside from the game against LA, how many earned runs will he allow against Columbus in the stream? I'm going to say the middle. I'm going to play the middle, man. I'm going to kind of get 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I think he's going to pitch well, be at 2 to 3 earned runs that he gives up. A 1 or less is asking for a lot because Columbus can hit. Now, if you want to go 3 or more, we've seen a lot of offense in some of these pitching duels, supposed pitching duels. I wouldn't blame you. But I think I'm going to go kind of in the middle and go 2 to 3. And then, of course, the tiebreaker. How many home runs do you think is going to be hit total between two teams? How many home runs do you think are going to be hit in Coyote Stadium? So, those are your weekly fantasy challenge propositions. And I'm going to link that to you guys right here in the live chat. I'll also link it if you're watching this on replay. I will be linking it as well in the I'll be linking it as well in the pinned comment section. That's where you'll find all of the weekly fantasy challenge links for you guys. I won't be posting them in the description. Nobody ever checks the description anyway. So we'll have it in the pinned comment. We'll have it in the comment section so you guys can find it. So with that being said, we've covered everything that I've wanted to cover so far in this podcast. We've talked about the fantasy challenge. We've talked about the what did we learn. We've talked about the week 2 theme, some questions for you guys leading into week 3 this next week. And now I think it's time. I think it's time to start looking at some standings, some statistics, and open it up for you guys in the comment section if you guys would like to see your custom prospects. What are your stats, right? We got to check those things out. Okay, let's go over here to the standings real quick, get a little bit of an update. We'll start with the East. And New York finding themselves again in first place. 30-20 on the season. They have 221 runs scored. That is good for first place in the East. And when you look at the team rankings in the upper right-hand corner, 24th rank, 16th in contact, 20th in power. Pitching is supposedly bad, but they have given up only 189 runs in the grand scheme of things. They are the third. They're about middle of the pack against runs against them. They're 8-2 in their last 10. It's a team that is just well managed, and they come up with clutch hits. It's a team that, for as many times as we and myself want to put them down, they seem to always find a way to get back up. So 30-20, Pittsburgh kind of dropping the ball a little bit. 2 games above 500. They're 4 games back. Revolution are kind of creeping in there a little bit. They're 5-5. The Hammers are 5-5 in their last 10. Swamp Monsters and Mallards are really dropping the ball here. Really dropping the ball. 21-28, 19-29. I couldn't tell you what's wrong with the Mallards, man. They got to fix some things up, or else they're going to be left behind, and it's going to be really a fall from grace from year number 1. Going over to the Central, the Cardinals still remaining here in first place, 28-21. The Rams are surprisingly only a half game back. And when you look at the runs scored and the runs against, 190 to 181, that would be the worst runs against, but the worst runs for in the Central, but the best runs against in the AL Central. That is something to note. So if you get into a pitching duel with the Rams, you're likely going to lose that. And what's really crazy to me is that Diabolist, he had a little model, and I think that model and that power rankings model actually projected the Indiana Rams to have a really good pitching staff this season. So it is kind of funny to see that this is all playing out into his favor. They're actually rated 5th in pitching, so it's kind of his weighting, his averages are kind of playing out a little bit. The Jacks, I thought that they would be playing a little bit better than they have been. They're 25-23. They've lost 5 straight games. That's not going to help you. 19-29 for the Breeze, man. So the two teams that in year 1 were one of the best in all the league, the Breeze and the Mallards, just not getting it done so far in the early going. Got the Maples at 19-30. I kind of projected that they didn't seem like they had a lot going for them. The pitching staff has not been good. So they've got to clear some things up there, but Firebirds still holding on to first place, 29-19, 4 games ahead of the Nuggets, 4.5 games ahead of the 4.5 games ahead of the Nuggets, 4 games ahead of the Emeralds, 5.5 ahead of the Spirit, and 8 ahead of the Hawks. It's a logjam. And I feel like even despite 2 months worth of Firebirds in first place action, they're going to let it slip away. I think the Emeralds and the Nuggets are the real deal. They might be playing 500 baseball. I just feel like they're more talented than the Firebirds. Overall, I think the offense is just hot right now. I think if the pitching staff has any sort of letdown, they're screwed. They need that pitching staff to maintain 165 runs against. Let's remember that number because I think that's the best in the whole entire GGBL, I believe. But ultimately, throughout the long game, I think the Emeralds and the Nuggets are going to compete for first place in that Western division. I don't think the Firebirds are for real, right? Moving on to the wild card look, we've got a tie across the GGBL, and it's going to be a tight race, man. If this holds true, it's going to be a crazy end, kind of like what we saw with year one. It's going to be a crazy end to the season. Let's go to the National League. Naturals League. Blue Sox, first place. But are they a true first place team? Anytime you got Juan Soto, you got a good pitching staff, you're the champs. You're first place team, but are they really in gameplay? Are they really first place team? It's gonna matter. Gameplay matters. You got your simulation, you get rewarded for being a good team, and you got a good assembly of players on your team. So simulation does reward you, but in gameplay, that's a totally different animal. So when we see the Blue Sox potentially in the playoffs, are they the same team as they were in year one? I don't know. Good boys. We're playing good. The crazy thing is we'd be right in the thick of things, if not in first place in a lot of these divisions, but we're behind the Blue Sox, right? So 28 and 22, Moonshots, like I mentioned, playing 500 baseball. The Sting are struggling, the Flight are struggling, and you got to ask yourself, the easy question: in simulation, are the Blue Sox taking advantage of a kind of a weaker NL East? Are they kind of padding their stats against the Flight and the Sting? The same could be said for the Good Boys, the Moonshots. Are we really, is that really who we are? We're a 500 team, but I think that the Blue Sox are just totally better than the Sting and the Flight, and I think they might be padding their stats a little bit. Just me. Copperheads, like I mentioned, in first place now, but they're only a half a game ahead of the Heat. So the Heat are putting the heat on those Snakes. Maroons, 2 games back. Hatters, 5 game back. Swing, 5.5 back. Totally not a division that's settled yet. By any means, not even settled yet. So there's a whole lot of things that are left that could happen. You got the Knights at 33-16. The Grizzlies, 5 games back. The Knights have actually gone on a tear. Remember, the Grizzlies, I think, were in first place at the end of April, but the Knights have really turned it up a notch. They're scoring a bunch of runs. They're also giving up a ton of runs, too. Their pitching staff has not been necessarily that great either at 213, but their offense is legit. The Grizzlies at 219, 177, their pitching staff has been not the best. The Defenders' pitching staff has been the best with Tony Gonsolin and Marco Gonzalez. They got a good 1-2 punch, but it's for wild card standings. I think some of these NL West teams are gonna be in the fight for an NL West wild card win. But by the looks of it right now, it doesn't look like the Knights are gonna give up that NL West crown. But you got the Grizzlies here, you got the Pioneers, the Coyotes. Yeah, Defenders could get hot. I mean, it's anybody's ball game, literally, for this second half. But see what you guys are saying here in the comment section, in the live chat. Rico Ramos Gold is still hating on the Firebirds. They're going to score 20 next game just to spite them. KJ Ferris, my players buried than Defenders minors. Procrastinator Hope LeVar Atkins is dealing in Double A. Yeah, I mean we can see these guys. Thank you, Corey, to answering Angel's question. And Lucas says, please call up Francisco Porte. And that's exactly what we're going to do, guys. We're going to go lead in to the June call-ups and call-downs. It's time. It's time we talk about that. So let's bring in the beat reporter, the GGBL beat reporter, Scott Fitzko. Scott, welcome.
Cold.
Scott, you are live.
All right. Everybody.
Welcome, dude. Welcome. Hey, so you've got you've picked up on some news across the GGBL. League sources are telling you, there's players that have been struggling. You've been following the league for a good 2 months. You kind of have a pulse on some of these teams. What are we looking at here for some of these teams? We're going to start with the AL East, though, so just keeping you on track here, too. We're going to start with the AL East and kind of move through it just a little bit, but what are you hearing out of Swamp Monsters camp?
Well, I'm hearing two people moving up and down in the minor league system. One is Brent Honeywell Jr., who has been struggling tremendously. I mean, tremendously these last few weeks. Not last few weeks, last few months. He hasn't been what they wanted him to be. Sorry. 5.29 ERA, 1.68 WHIP, just not it at all. In the amount of sample size that he's had, it's horrible. Like 20 more strikeouts than walks.
47 innings. It seems like everybody else is getting about the same amount of innings here. You got Dubin, Castro at 48, Honeywell there at 47 and 2/3. He's been coming out of the bullpen in some instances. He's been spot starting, so they've been kind of jockeying him around a little bit, and they just feel like maybe this is going to be the move that they have to make to better the pitching staff. This has been a struggling point for Washington, and this is a team that made it to the playoffs, and they made it deep. And, they can't be messing around with less than 500 baseballs. So
they're one of those teams that feel they are competing, and they can't have that kind of weak spot in the rotation or bullpen.
So what are you hearing they're doing with the call-up here?
Calling up Evan Krasinski. I think that's how you say his name. I struggle a bit, but he's been tearing up the minors a lot.
Yeah, you just look at you look at the movement here on the attributes here. So Honeywell's got a little bit more velocity. Stamina's the same. Krasinski's got a little bit better home runs per 9. Yeah. K per 9 takes a little bit of a hit there, but not much. So it seems like he's on fire. Seems to be like he's got enough control to hang in there. So he's a lefty too. So that gives him a little.
He's a lefty. Diversity to the rotation too. Not just the rotation. It's either he's probably gonna be out of the bullpen more than he is in the rotation. Maybe a couple spot starts, but I think it's a really good, smart move by the Washington Swamp Monsters.
Yes, and there he goes. So that's the move. Evan Krasinski getting the call up. Washington's making some moves. Now, little side note, guys, getting out of character here. The reason why, if you go into CPU roster control, if you move players up and down, you don't take the hit on using minor league options. Some of you might think that that's a little cheesy. Me personally, as one guy, I can't manage 30 teams, so I think it can give you a little bit of a break there. But if you do it from your roster screen, it will count against you. So just a little MLB The Show like tip. If you go to CPU roster control, it will not count against you for moving guys up and down as much as you want. So it's something to think about. Okay, back on the character. Scott, Boston. What are they doing in Boston?
So we've got 4 people in rotation here. One of those people being Sterling Sharp, who has been struggling
1-5
quite a bit. Yeah, probably a bit frustrating for Sterling out there. Good sample size. I think it's the right call to call him down with the 1.63 WHIP, 5.49 ERA, and 39 innings, and just not getting those wins that you need as a starter and as a bullpen person. And in favor of Sterling Sharp, they are calling up Mike Wright Jr.
That's the guy.
That's
the guy. Man,
he's old.
Look
at him. Good.
the strikeouts to walks, man. So 35 in 9. And Mike Wright's a veteran, 32 years old. This is a team in Boston. I mean, they're not too far out. They're not too far out of the playoff mix, and it's early. And you got Sharp, he says he's hot. He might have gotten a win the last time he was out, so it might be time that he's starting to change some things and turn some things around. But
a little bit too much, too late.
Yeah, I mean they got to make moves. They got to make moves now. So when you really look at it,
situation.
A 68 overall to a 69 overall. Yes, the break is really good, but it just seems like Mike Wright is more of the complete pitcher that they need right now.
little veteran in the locker room too.
Yep, and that's the move that they're going to make. So they're going to go after Mike Wright to get him into the mix. And we're moving right along here, guys. So what else? They're not done yet. They're not done. What else? What other moves are they making?
Buck Pearson is getting called down.
Yes.
In the catcher position.
In 35 at-bats.
I thought this one was pretty obvious what needed to happen. Buck Pearson, even in such a small sample size, you don't want to be doing that bad.
No.
He's a good fielder and everything. But he'll have his shot next year. He'll have a shot next year again, I think, for sure.
You gotta. He would probably be a guy that would benefit from just getting more playing time. This guy needs to see at bats. He needs to see pitches. He needs to get in there.
Better.
35 at bats compared to 144, but it's like, as an organization, why would that be a move you want to make? If I'm looking at Buck Pearson, I'm saying, you're hitting 029, Buck. Let's have you start here where the games matter. Take it over Evan Gaddis, and let's see what happens. No. Send him down to the minors. Let him figure it out. And if and when that does happen, I think that's the move to make. But they're going to be calling up Jonah Heim, is what I'm hearing. Is that correct? Jonah Heim
has been tearing it up in the minors, yep.
I mean, you can just look at the contact. Like, you're not losing that much with fielding. Not really losing a whole lot with power, but the contact numbers do go up.
Yeah.
So
Jonah Heim's going to be pretty good for them, I think.
Yeah, he's going to be all right.
He's a bit more of a veteran, too, I guess.
All right, guys, let's go to New York. Let's go to the Pizzazz here real quick. What are we hearing out of Pizzazz camp?
Pizzazz are deciding to stick with the situation they're in. I don't have anything in my notes about them calling up or dropping anyone down.
Do they call down Shevchuk?
I'm wrong. Hold on.
Do they call down Shevchuk?
No.
626.
Sadly,
keep in mind, everybody out there, keep in mind, Shevchuk, coming off that opening day, felt like he was the number one guy. Yeah. Do you feel like he's the opening? Do you feel like he's the number one guy with those?
Never thought he was the number one guy. Ever.
Chat.
I never thought it.
Chat. Do you feel like Alexei Shevchuk is the number one guy, or is he just hit a rough spot? He could be hitting a rough spot.
Anybody in chat think that he's earned his self-proclaimed number one spot?
Personally, I don't. I think he's hovering around that 2-3 side of things.
I think he's down to the 4 right now. He's a 6.23 ERA, 1.6 WHIP. He's not good right now.
No, but
get it together. I don't know, but
has been good.
He did not get called down. Even to my disagreement with the Pizzazz in that decision, he did not get called down. But they did call down a pitcher, and his name is Enoli Paredes.
Yes, and they are going to be calling up Austin Cox.
In
48 strikeouts, 13 walks. They're going to move him up. He is a lefty, so it gives him a little bit more depth and pieces. But you look at Enoli Paredes, 22 Ks, 21 walks. It's just not – that's not effective.
He's not
That's the move you got to make. So
even though he's having a better season than Shevchuk.
Yeah,
so he's a bit older though too. So
this move also kind of puts a little pressure. It kind of puts a little pressure on Shevchuk. You've got a 67, 25-year-old, be potential.
Got a young guy coming up.
Yeah, and he's naturally a starter. He's not a reliever.
Shevchuk. You got a guy that's going to push you.
Yep.
He's a starter. He's going to push him, and I think. I don't know. What's up, Neil? I think that hopefully Shevchuk gets it together, but. There's another one, and they decided to take down the veteran Steven Souza Jr. in favor of DeMarcus King.
Yes, this is a tough move for Steven Souza. Look at Nicky Delmonico, by the way, 329. This is a tough one. And by the way, Benito Ramirez, 340. This is why I think he's Rookie of the Year, for sure. You got Garrett Mitchell, 268.
I agree with you on this one. I think he's for sure.
Fowler, 269. Harper. The outfield is absolutely crowded. And Steven Souza Jr. was brought in here to be kind of like that Nicky Delmonico. But the problem for Steven Souza...
He's not playing.
He's not playing. He's got 13 at-bats. He's 32 years old. It's just like with the emergence
It's like
of
what
Bendito,
happened on the
With the emergence of Bendito, it seems like this is the move that they're going to make. So AAA, Souza, sucks, but they are going to call up DeMarcus King.
DeMarcus King.
Question.
I like DeMarcus King.
Yes, question about DeMarcus King.
Who's custom prospect is he?
Eric Mejia hitting 226. That's a problem. Jake Hager in 140 at bats, hitting 150, but he plays really good defense. He's like an Adam Everett. If you probably don't even know who Adam Everett is. He's like Dan Ugla, but without the power. You guys remember these names?
Yeah.
Jake Hager
No.
is not the answer at second base. You've got a guy here, DeMarcus King, who's going to give you the same production as Hager and Mejia, but he's going to actually drive in some runs in the process.
He's got that power. That nobody else has that power at the second base position. And it's very rare for a second base position to have that kind of power too. And he's young, like really young. So I don't see he wouldn't do it.
All right, let's move on to the Pittsburgh Hammers. What are we hearing from the Pittsburgh
Shad
Hammers?
Bolden, that's who DeMarcus' King boy is. Or that's who it is. So have a seasoned veteran getting called down here. Kind of sad, but he's been slumping. He made a appearance this week of games, I believe, and it is Juan Nicasio who's getting called down here.
Look at Martin Tate, by the way, the custom prospect. 31 strikeouts, 9 walks. He's pitching good. It's been the strength. It's been the strength of the Pittsburgh Hammers right now. Has been their pitching staff and
pitching.
JJ Ghost.
They're trying to shore up any weak spot they have in that pitching rotation right now, and I think that's what they're doing with Juan Nicasio.
Yep, they're gonna move up JJ Ghosts and Juan Nicasio. I'm just giving you a quick look here, guys, at just what everybody else is doing on the team. And Nicasio at 8 1/3. It's tough, man. He's a 71. He's 35. He's got veteran presence. Not getting utilized a whole often. It's not a big sample size, but I think they're in a situation now where they feel confident in their young pitching staff. They're going to go with it, and that's the moves that they're going to make. All right, Michigan Mallards. Let's move over to them, and we're going to finish off the AL East here. We've got Christian Colon. We're going to jump to Christian Colon.
Down.
He is going to get moved down because he's not playing. 31,
not playing
deep
at all,
potential, not really helping this team in whatever matter. You've got Bregman, Perdomo, June Park, Vavra. Both these guys, I mean, they got the middle infields, left part of the infield all sorted out. Talk to me about this guy, Robert Hayes.
Robert Hayes. He's been, well, his hitting stats are insane. He's really like this guy, okay? So I went on a whole rant about this guy to you. I know you remember. This is Robert Hayes. He cannot field for crap, but he hits everything. It's everything, okay? He's awesome, and I like him a lot. And he's going to get called up, and he's going to DH or Mallards, and it's going to be great, okay? It's going to be amazing.
You sound like Donald Trump. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. Robert Hayes, he's the man. Look at 72 overall. But hey, Donald, D potential, man. It's not as good as you're selling us, man. I don't want to get into politics, 19. Okay, guys, but let's just
19.
Okay. It's not as good as he's selling it to us here. Scott,
19 too.
Don't be a politician,
71
Scott.
Power, 70 power.
Damn it, Fitzko.
71 on the power right. 65 contact, both sides.
Fitzko?
Yeah.
You're selling a bag of goods.
Gonna work out.
You're selling empty promises, dude. Deep potential.
There's a reason why they called him up.
Yeah, we'll go over that. So Robert Hayes, I'm gonna give it to you. Okay, you won this one, Scott. You won this one. Take a look at Bobby Bradley's numbers. He's not taking the job at first base over Bobby Bradley. Yes, he's got the deep potential. He's not really gonna move from 72. He's just gonna progress real slowly, if not just a little bit of regression there. But he's 19, and the hitting attributes speak for themselves. Look at 65, 70, 71, 60. He's a hitter. And like you mentioned, he is a pure DH in this
and he's going to rake.
Lineup. And Daniel Palka is the guy that has had major regression. We talked about this in the preview with Palka, that he would needed to be a guy that stepped up for this team if the Mallards wanted to do something. And he's not. 214.
On base percentage is good, I just realized, but not the average, or he's not hitting for power like he did last year or anything. He was great last year, and he's not replicating that in any sort of way.
So they call up Robert Hayes to be that lefty hitter again, and I think it's a good move for them. All right.
And he's lefty.
Go ahead.
He's lefty.
Yes, he's a lefty. All right, moving on here to Chicago. We've got 2 moves for Chicago.
I like this one.
They're going to be moving down Connor Fisk. He's 1-5, 37 innings, 8.03. That's enough. That's enough. Now, the thing with Chicago is they don't have a ton of pitching to give up at this point, especially a guy that's their 4th best overall pitcher. But, enough is enough. And they're going to call him down, and they're going to go with this guy, Matt Dennis, a reliever who's got 54 stamina, so he can kind of do the spot start thing. And look at his numbers, man. 21 strikeouts, 7 walks, sub-1 ERA, 65 overall. So, it's not like you're losing a whole lot here. You're going from 68 to 65. Kind of splitting hairs a little bit with the overall rating. I think it's a good move for them. What's the next move they're going to make?
They are going to move down Asher. That's what I call him. But Asher Wachesky is what I'm going to say. Has been horrible. Really bad. Not as bad as Connor Fisk, but he's getting the call down. He's 33. Just not what he was last year. He was really good last year, but he's not it at all.
Something's happening with Asher Wojciechowski.
Regression.
Again, you could cite it that you could maybe if you wanted to put a realistic spin on this, you could say arm fatigue. He had never had that much workload. You can see 16, 62, 82, got progressively better. 37 innings in 2020, came over to the GGBL, became an instant starter, 166 innings. And then this season he's been struggling. So you could chalk that up to arm fatigue. But the guy they're going to be calling up is Emilio Vargas. AJ Alexi would be an interesting guy. He's pitched well in the major leagues in real life. He would be a nice little addition, I think. But, Vargas has got some good velo. Control is obviously need to be worked on. But that walk per 9, K per 9, hit per 9, all pretty consistent. This is going to be the move that they make here to bring him up. And again, you're not losing too much. He's a 33-year-old pitcher compared to a guy that's 25. C potential, D potential. You're probably getting a little bit more in the long run with Emilio Vargas. So those are the 2 moves that Chicago is going to make. Let's move over here to Columbus. What do we got here for Columbus? I think we kind of previewed this as it was.
So, chat, one thing you're going to notice is regression from a lot of pitchers that did great last year. Just one thing. And they're taking down Matthew Thompson in favor of Jared Kelly here.
I just don't think you can. I don't think there's any reason you can keep him up there.
He's 0-6, 38 innings, more walks and strikeouts, 11.27 ERA and 2.11 WHIP.
Can't have it.
If he wasn't of his potential, that'd be like a career ender probably.
Yeah,
they're calling up
but he's
Jared
20.
Kelly.
Play devil's advocate. He's 20.
Yeah.
Both Thompson and Kelly are 20. And again, you're not losing too much, but
not losing much at all, no.
The difference to me is that Jared Kelly just seems like he's a better pitcher. He's not going to go as long with stamina, but velo, control, break, top 50 prospect. Jared Kelly's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
All right, next move.
Bryant Packard. Oh, wait till you guys see what Bryant Packard's doing.
Give a little update here. What's going on with the rest of the team before we get to Bryant Packard.
Callaway's raking too. Gifo was a close second for being called down too.
This is awful, by the way.
Yeah.
159 at bats, 195 batting average, and the contact is actually pretty solid for a GGBL player.
It should not be 195 average.
Nope. But so what do they got? Who are they calling up?
Calling up Yasniel Diaz.
Now,
which I think is a smart move.
some people might look at this and say, he's a worse contact hitter. It's probably a little bit worse than Packard defensively. So it's like, why wouldn't you just let the guy ride it out? He's 24. He's got an A. But I'm also looking at this like Ben Gamel's the starter. Pete Armstrong can get a little bit more time. He's actually producing a little bit. He's just totally better with the speed and the defense. Aquino, Jalen Davis, these guys are all playing. Yesniel Diaz, 24-65C, he's probably just better off being that bench guy than when you need him.
Whether he is playing or not, he's not going to make a huge difference. It's
Exactly.
just a safer bet than what Brian Packard is doing right now.
So let Packard go down, work it out.
Rake in the minors. Yeah.
And just go down there and rake and get that little XP boost. It's perfect.
Or move on to the Indiana Rams.
Yep. Indiana. What do we got for Indy?
Aaron Kendall going down now.
And you look at this, you look at the pitching staff here. This was an obvious one. Cole Wilcox, even with 10 2/3, it's just, it's just one of those situations again where it seems like you're a little too young for the show. 69A, let's call you down. Let's give you another opportunity. And then, of course, when we go to the outfield, like you mentioned, Steven Piscotty, could you do it? He's
Close.
31. Give Kierstead more opportunities. He's actually the starter anyway. Piscotty's the bench guy, but the guy that's getting the call down is Jaron Kendall. There you go, 156 batting average right now. He's down. Varsho's playing well. Garcia's holding his own. No left fielders, so they've got guys splitting some time here. So the two guys they're going to call up would be infielders. Go figure that. But it's going to be Tyler Freeman, who they acquired in a trade from Richmond last season, and the custom player Peanuts McLovin. Because he produces. Look at the offense and then the speed. Like, Peanuts is your perfect DH in this lineup. He might be a perfect pinch hitter in this situation. Freeman's a little bit more well-rounded. So these are going to be the two guys that they call up here. And namely, you're hearing some rumors about Carlos Asuaje is why they're doing that.
Might be making the move to outfield as well. Like part-time.
Yes.
Well, saying he can do that. And it's really smart move from Indiana, I believe. I think, personally. The left field, right field, and you replace what Jaron Kendall was doing, like without ease,
right.
Which wasn't much, but instant upgrade in the infield as well, and at the DH position.
You look at the defense, you look at the well-roundedness from Tyler Freeman. It looks like Freeman's going to slide right into that second baseman job to start, and then McLovin, like I said, will just kind of be that DH. Asuaje could, play that outfield position. Yeah, it seems like pretty good move here for Indiana. Let's move over here to Wisconsin. I'll take care of this one. We got Harold Gonzalez being the guy that gets called down. And wait till you see these numbers for the pitching staff for Wisconsin, guys. 5 ERA for Pearson, Molly. Cueto struggling a little bit with 4.4. Harold Gonzalez a 5.68. And Chance Adams is like the best pitcher right now for them. 3.47, 5-2. And even when you look at the minor league pitching, other than Alek Manoah, there's nothing really happening for them. Other than Marcus Solbach, you got Zach Hake. They need to make moves. They're a bad team right now. They need to make some moves for the now. Harold Gonzalez is going to be going bye-bye. Yes, again, you could make the argument, bad team, young player. Just let him go. Let him grind it out. Let him grind it out the pig league level. But I think it's just a smarter move to get up another guy that's actually producing, which is another young pitcher in Alek Manoah. So he's going to come up and replace Harold Gonzalez. And then we've also got Zach Hake going to get the call here too. Look at the velo, 88 miles an hour. He's probably going to be a bullpen guy, but it looks like that's going to be a good move for Wisconsin. You got Ryan Howard. I don't even remember where Ryan Howard is. What is he? I don't even remember this. Where is Ryan Howard?
I thought, is he a closing?
He's a shortstop. There you go. So he's got 16 at-bats. not playing too much. Just makes kind of some sense there for them. Let's go to shortstop really quick. You got Terang, you got Ironman. They've pretty much got this on lockdown here. Ryan Howard's just kind of not doing a whole lot, so it's a good move for them. Minnesota. Let's talk about those Minnesota Jacks.
Tyrone Marcus is going to be the first guy we talk about getting the call down for the Jacks, who have been like way above their grade and expectations this year, and it's pretty cool. Now, Tyrone, he's young.
Yep.
It's one of those things that we did with Packard and the other young guys. They're just going to go beef it down in the minors because they're not ready yet. They're not ready to face these kind of these people yet. So we're bringing up Ty Colrath, who's more experienced than Marcus.
Yep, 26 years old, 68. Seems like the solid move for them. And the next move will be for infielders. We got Sergio Alcantara getting the call down. He's hitting 196 and 56 at-bats. Luciano's really taken that job. And I think just looking at Freudis Nova, seems like he's pretty similar as it is to Sergio Alcantara. You're doing this for the youth movement here. And
I think he's similar and better at the same time, so I think it's a no-brainer at this point.
Right. All right, let's now move over to the AL West fairly quickly. This one's interesting. Santa Fe is an interesting little team here, what they're about to do.
Another regression from an old guy that's going to be calling down Hector Rondon.
What is that?
Being moved down. I think it might be...
What is Brady Ibar? 27, C potential. Look at what he's doing. Control is 27.
But look at the walks per 9.
70. He's an anomaly. He doesn't make any sense. How do you have 27 control, but your walks per 9 is a 70?
It
doesn't make any sense, but they're going to go with it. He's got 40-something strikeouts and 10 walks. This is the move they're going to make. And they're going to shift him over to the bullpen because it's like, I'm not letting this guy start. Look at his control. I'm fearful of that. I'm not getting this guy anywhere near the starting rotation right now. Can he start? Yes, he's got the 70 stamina, but I'm not touching it. So Ibar is going to replace in a struggling starting pitcher role for this team. We got Sixto 3.6, Jimmy Polanski upwards of 4, Tommy Wilson upwards of 4, Boz is at a 6. Again, you could argue that Boz needs to go, but then everybody's bad, so it's like, why does Boz need to go? Priester 4.8. I mean, it's not been good for Santa Fe's pitching staff, but the bullpen has been better.
That's just really young.
But Hector Rondon has been bad. 14 and 14.
They called down the old guy.
Just might as well do that. That's the move they're going to make there. They've also got a interesting decision to make about John Andrioli.
In the
60 at-bats, 183. And in a situation with this team where they've got Rooker, Broxton, Corbin Carroll, who's really young at 20, Aaron Whitefield, getting a ton of time, but the speed and the defense, he's a specialist out there. Angelo Ruth. You could make an argument for Sully Matias, but I think the move that they want to make is get rid of the outfield overload and focus on getting some infielder help, which is Vidal Brujan.
The guy that they're calling up, Vidal Brujan, he can play outfield too if they so need it.
Correct. Yep. Right. So they kind of killed two birds with one stone here. So you replace Andrioli with Brujan for the outfield, but then you've also got a backup shortstop for Bryson Stott if he ever needs a day off. So kind of helps their offense, kind of helps their defense out in the outfield. I think it's a smart move for them. They made some solid moves with their minor league system for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Now I moved to the Oklahoma Hawks.
This is the last place team in the AL West. And
surprisingly, they didn't do a complete overhaul, which a lot of teams did that were doing better than them. They only made 2 moves. One call up and one call down. They moved down Melvin Adon. It's the starting point.
Yes. And Brian Salmon's actually down in the minor leagues right now with a 3.81 from last season as a starter. He was 20 and 15. So what kind of record is that? 20 and 15. No games started, but he got into 94 games as a reliever, and he was a part of 35 decisions. So they're going to move him up to not be a starter, to go back to the pen and replace Melvin Adon. 9.33.
You grade that a good or bad season that he had last year? Just like a real fast question.
What's that?
I would say that's a pretty good season he had last year.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Adon, not so much.
The record was kind of weird. 20-15 is kind of weird, but it's whatever. If there's anybody specifically that you guys want to see for Oklahoma, we can look at that. But Hamburger here, 242, Reagan Landish, 338, still pitching well. But we're gonna move on over here to the Nuggets and talk about the players that they are calling up and call down.
Start off with Matt Latos. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm pretty sure I am.
They are going to be calling down
Nuggets.
Matt Latos. Now, the strikeouts to walks seems pretty solid. The 4-8 record leaves a little bit left to be desired there. 5.23. I think they can do a little bit better, so they're going to call him down, try to work on some things there. But Brian Mata is actually pitching a lot better. He's got more velo, more stamina, can spot start if needed. A little bit less walks per 9. It might be a little bit of a risk here, but they're going to go with the young guy here at 68B. He's on fire. He's pitching well.
Be honest.
That's the move they're going to make there.
One of those things where it's not necessarily that you had to call him down, but you had to call him up, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Latos wasn't a urgent need to be called down, while Brian Mata needed to be called up because of his performance.
Yeah, and it's ultimately just a tough call, but it's about just trying to win games and giving your team the best chance to do it. And right now Las Vegas is in fourth place in the AL West, so they've got to make some moves here to get better. But last move they're going to make is actually in the outfield, and we can see the outfield right now with Benintendi, Krenzel, Malik Smith, Puig, and Schebler. And ultimately, the odd man out here, you've got a 5-man outfield here, is going to be Rod Krenzel. He doesn't really offer too much right now. He's 63 at-bats, no stolen bases. This is a guy that had 11 last season, got more playing time last year. But with the addition of Andrew Benintendi, that is basically pushing Krenzel out. And he's going to go down to AAA, and they're going to do this in favor of a guy, Jack Matura. And Matura's got a little bit better skill set. 69, 71, can run, can field. He can do everything that Rod Krenzel can, but in this loaded outfield, they're going to give Krenzel some time, and they're going to try to move Jack Matura along and see what they got. Really just see what they have. I think they know what they have in Rod Krenzel. They think it's kind of beneficial for him to move down, work on his game, and then by also seeing, hey, here's a guy with some pretty good skill set. What do we have with this guy? We're not really sure. So let's just do a little experiment here. So that's the move that they're going to make. Seattle.
I like it a lot. This one's fun. I like this one, and I can't wait to see what happens in chat. We have Hans Kraus getting called down to start off. The call downs.
You can see their pitching staff right now too. We got William Quell. Look at William Quell, 41 and 15. That's really good. Bettinger's been not as good, but Hans Kraus, like you mentioned, has been
not so much.
5-4, coming out of the bullpen, 6'2", 164. Like, you got to move him down. They're going to do this in favor of
Francisco Port.
Yes, take one look at all the statistics here. Now, there's a lot of guys with Seattle that you could make the case for, right? So Brian Bello, Trevor McGill, there's guys that have a good walk to strikeout ratio, but none better than Francisco
Port.
43 strikeouts and 6 walks. 205. It's
strike to walk
sparkling.
ratio is insane.
It's pristine. You got to call him up. He's the guy.
Got to call him up.
And look at the glove, man. I love the glove. It fits perfectly.
Love it too.
It fits perfectly. Here's another prospect, Pablo Zambrano, by the way. He's not doing too hot. So he's got to try to figure some things out there. But what's the next move here? Because they really need some help figuring out their pitching staff. They're going to move down AJ Cole.
Well, another veteran that did good last year, get moved down.
Yep. They're going to move him down for a little bit, see what he's got, and then they're
Dump
going
him
to
in the
replace
water.
him with Corey
Corey
Oswald.
Oswald.
30-9. Now the ERA is a little shaky there with 4.2, but
yeah,
at least they're getting a little bit better. Just a little bit better.
he's too high of overall to have down in the minors, kind of, if that makes sense.
Last team in the AL West, and then I'm going to do the
Firebirds.
I'm going to do the NL on my own here to try to move us along here. But we've got the AL West. Fried, Laterman, 3.9. Porcello, Rico Ramos, Logue, Seawald. Seawald pitched better in gameplay than he did here, 5.8. But what does this team need? What does this first place team need?
It's hard. Let's say they need to move down Rivera, which is what they're doing. Pitching is definitely not their problem, I would say. Without a doubt. Probably best pitching in the league right now.
You look at what they're doing with catcher, and it's like Rene Rivera is somehow hitting 324 right now with 36, 38 contact. The defense is almost the same as Xavier Warren, but Warren here is actually producing some home runs, some RBIs. It's almost like, why not, right? Let's call the 38-year-old down. That time is over for Rene. We got to move over here to Xavier Warren, who I believe played for Phoenix last year, and he ended up not doing too bad.
Pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, so Xavier Warren's going to get the call, and that's literally the only move that Phoenix needs to make, because everything else doesn't seem like it adds up too much. You got Barreto hitting 211. Can't do that. 234 Andy Burns. Fuentes 143. You got to kind of ride it out. The guy's a 75 overall. You got to ride it out. Mendoza 269. Alvarez 236. Devers 307. Davidson, Fox, Martin. It's just nothing really that stands out for Phoenix's minor league system. You just gotta let this thing ride out with their hitting and just focus on the thing you could, and that was backup catcher, and that's the move that they made. So
there's a lot of utility in Xavier Warren, who can play the whole infield as well as catcher. So
yes. Chat time before I start doing the NL East or the National League here. Guys talking about Phoenix McLovin, young pitcher stock trading up with all these regressions. Favorite player would be Seiko Ichiman, Tyrone Marcus, straight out of NCAA 14. I don't know who that is. He's probably good for the young pitching staff. Is Rene Rivera. We'll see how it all pans out, but that's a very good point, Corey Karoff. Rene Rivera's call down might hurt the Firebirds' young pitching staff. So,
have to see. We will have to see.
Yes.
I think.
All right, Scott, thank you very much for your contributions here tonight.
Of course. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, man. Keep the ears peeled for anything else that might be happening GGBL related.
Yes, sir. Very much.
All right, we'll see you later. I'm going to talk about the NL East now, guys. Let's talk about this real quick. And we'll be good to run through some quick statistics if you're just joining in late and you haven't got a chance to do it. But let's run through this really quick, guys. We got the NL, and we'll be finished up with the June call-ups and call-downs. Now, keep in mind, the GGBL roster sheet will be updated before Friday so that you guys can have this. It's all documented here anyway, but in this video. But it will be documented in the Google Sheet so you guys can see, like, okay, here's the pieces that moved up and down, and then what the rosters are looking like. But let's look at the Atlanta Sting. What are the moves they're making? Well, they're going to make an outfield move, and they're going to make a pitching move. And Dustin May a little bit struggling here. You got Aiden Myhill pitching decently for a one-year pro. Simeon Woods Richardson, not bad. I mean, not good, I should say. 5.65, just not good. Salazar to 4.9. He's 31. This is the move they're going to make. They're going to move down Salazar, and they're actually going to call up Bryce Wilson. Take a look at these numbers for Bryce Wilson. The break with the velo, with the stamina, the K per 9, hits per 9, the production, 50 and 19, 288. I think you just got to do it. He's 22 years old compared to Danny Salazar being 31. I think it's the move that makes the most sense for this team with the pitching staff struggles that they're having. So we'll see how it all plays out. We got Leroy Jenkins here at a 206, so he's got to kind of pick that up just a little bit at AAA. The move that they're going to make, though, for the outfield is Kyle Isbell is going to stay, but Jimmy Kerrigan is going to get moved down. 45 at-bats, 111. He's not playing, right? He's not really playing too much. He's a 70 overall player. Isbell's going to stay just because he is a lefty. And, with Pache, Markakis, they've got two lefty batters. They got Castro as a righty, Davis is a righty, Hyun-Soo Kim is a lefty. So that outfield's pretty crowded, but, Chris Davis is more of a DH. He's not really playing in the outfield right now. It's going to be Liam Murphy. He's going to get the call here. He's producing RBIs at 21, 6 steals, 279 average. He is going to be called up just to kind of in that similar role as what we talked about with another team here earlier is what do we have? Like Jack Matura. What do we have with William Murphy? I want to see him get some time here on this bad baseball team. I think they only have 18 wins at this point. So it's like, why not? Why not give your youngsters a shot? And, maybe somewhere down the line, we're going to see, where's our boy here? Where did he go? I'm looking for Leroy Jenkins. Maybe one day we see Leroy Jenkins in September. Maybe he gets a September call-up, but that's a move for Atlanta. Miami Moonshots, they got a couple moves. Namely, they're going to be looking at starting pitching. Keuchel, James, Lindblom pitching well, Medina pitching fine, RJ Dixon pitching well, 39 and 12. Strikeouts to walks, Dane Dunning. But Ronald Bolanos is going to be the guy, right? 17 strikeouts, 10 walks, 6 and a 1.8. He's got to be the guy to move down. Now, with the pitching staff in the minor leagues, that's a very, very tough call. Because you got some good guys here that are doing pretty well. Like Max Meyer could be better, but Luis Madero, 2.6. It's a really tough call for Miami, but I think the move that they're going to make is Adrian Almeida. Almeida. 0.7, 1.8 in 12 and 2/3. You got the velo. You look at the repertoire here, 94, 84, 91. He's got a fastball, slider, 2-seam, so he can move it around the strike zone. I think he's going to be a good pitcher for them. And he's also a lefty, which helps. So that's going to be the call up there. Got a offensive move here as well. Todd Singe. Definitely, I know I'm saying that wrong, but you guys look at his numbers, guys. 6 home runs, 23 ribbies, 284. Look at the contact numbers, power numbers. He's going to be a nice little backup at first base for Ryan Healy. But they're going to call down Wilfredo Tovar. 161 is not going to cut it. Fielding numbers are decent. Tim Lopes. It's hard to take the starting job away from him. You got Brassau. You've got Xavier Hawkins and Zue Lin. Those guys are really splitting the time here at second and short. So really there's just no need for Wilfredo Tovar at this point. They need a backup first baseman for Healy, and that's going to help out their offense. Now, with the Richmond Good Boys. My Richmond Good Boys. What do we got here? What's going on with Richmond? Well, it's tough because our pitching staff was pretty good last year. But this year, not so much. Everybody's upwards of 4, except for Aaron Ashby, but he's real close. So I think pitching is the focal point here, and it's going to be Glenn Sparkman. He's got a positive record at 5-3, but that 5.3 ERA and 1.27 is no likey for me. And we're going to replace him for a reliever, which will be Colby Allard. But you guys can see our bullpen here. Our bullpen's actually pretty good this season. I'm really impressed with our bullpen, and we're going to add to that with Colby Allard, another lefty. He's got that B potential at 65. This I feel like is a good move for us. Home runs per 9. We seem to always have a problem with the home run ball in gameplay, at least at Fetchman's Field. We gave up home runs to Will Till in San Francisco in year 1. Satchel Michaels, I think, even had a home run, I believe. Yelich. We had Logan Morrison hit a grand slam on us. So we need a pitcher that's got a good rating at that point. We're also making a move in the outfield. We got Johan Miesis in 52 at-bats, 115 batting average. The attributes should tell you that he should be better, but he's not producing. And the emergence of Michael Ruth is really taking over his job, and he's going to have to go down to AAA and prove it again. You got Kyle Lewis. We need more ribbies through 2 months. We need more ribbies from Kyle Lewis. Joe Adell not doing much, can't really deserve it of a call-up. Khalil Lee, I don't like those numbers there. He might be producing in AAA, but those numbers, 48, 35, 51, it's just, I don't really like that. Jake Mangum, maybe you could have made the argument there to replace Miesis, but, our outfield, again, with Tora, Munoz, it could be better. I'd like to see it a little bit better. Bobby Witt just is terrible in gameplay, man. Even in I can't figure that out. He should be better than that. 167 overall batting average. But Brett Beatty is going to be my guy. B potential, 68. Can play third base a little bit. Jake Lamb is more of a designated hitter at this point. I got David Wright getting a little older, starting to see a little bit of regression through this season. I think it's just time. I think the writing is on the wall for David Wright. He is going to start getting a little colder at this point. We need a third baseman that's going to play every day. Best time to do it is Brett Beatty, is do it now and get him ready for that second half. So those are going to be the moves for the Richmond Good Boys. Now, the Philadelphia Flight. I'm going to leave it up to you guys with this one. We got 19 viewers today, and I'm going to kind of go through some statistics here for the Flight. They're the worst team in the GGBL. Take a look at these numbers. What do you think needs to happen? Grayson Rodriguez, tough call. He's really the guy that I'm putting up on the block here. 0-8 with a 10.64 ERA to 2.07 WHIP. What do you do? 44 innings. He is undoubtedly struggled. What is the move you make? You either keep him here or you move him down, because the production is not helping him. -3 in hits per 9, -1, got a +1 in control, +1 in walks per 9, but it's just not enough for an A potential guy. Needs to be seeing those progression, those bonuses, those pluses across the board. At this point through 2 months, personally, I think the move is to call him down. But this team is so bad. He's 21 years old. It's like, you got to go through the lumps of your career. I mean, just think about it. What do you want to do about that? Let me know in the comment section here. What do you think? AJ Ladwig could be a guy that they call up. Francisco Morales. Do you want to feed him to the Wolves? He's a top 50 prospect. David Parkinson. He's a 67 overall. Attribute-wise, he's a lot worse as well. I mean, you look at the circle. 72 velocity, 71. Wish there was a way you could actually compare, but either way, you are getting a little bit of regression here for David Parkinson. Jeff Bain, 37-9. What do you do, guys? What do you do? Let me see what the comment section's saying. He's 10.6 ERA, 0-8. You got to send him down. Holy shit. They don't send him down, said PSJB. Grayson definitely needs more time to develop, I guess. That is a tough situation. The Pirates can keep a starting pitcher with an 8 ERA in the MLB, so I can say he stays. Lucas Amarillo says, I feel like you need to make a change. Personally, I do too, but, again, you make the argument. You make the argument. Does he have to just work through it? Do you ruin him? Or is Philadelphia end up ruining him? Let me know. Let me know. Think about it. Let me know. I want to talk about another move here, possibly. You look at the bullpen right now. Bullpen's been pretty solid. Let's see. You've got closing pitchers that aren't worthy. You're not worthy. 55 overalls there. You got the catcher spot. Chadwick Tromp, 179. John Hicks hitting, a little bit better there, but Tromp is one of those guys that's just got to work it out again. He's at 179. He's the best catcher overall-wise. Chris Carter's struggling. Ryan Ripken, guy they traded for a few in the offseason last year. Miguel Vargas hitting well. Linares at 196. Xander Pollock's got to come up. You look at Linares and Pollock. Pollock's got 9 homers in 114 at bats. Linares at 196. Now Linares is really good defensively, so maybe that is kind of like his calling card here. Ison Diaz, more of a hitter than a defender, but I think Xander Pollock has to be a guy that gets called up. He is a custom prospect player, but now you really have to figure out who you're calling down. Luis Aviles Jr. could be the guy that gets moved down. Zeal Jackson could be a guy that gets moved down. The defense, though, is really good for Zeal Jackson. And that's like the biggest thing with Philadelphia. They've got so many good defenders, but their offense is just lacking so much. Hitting 222 with no run production at all in 18 at-bats. 162 at-bats for Luis Aviles Jr. in 216. I think some tough calls have to be made here. Maybe Zeal Jackson just ends up being a defensive replacement. Maybe Luis Aviles Jr. is the guy that gets called down for Xander Pollock. He can play shortstop. He's a little bit better of a hitter as it is. I think that's the move you got to make. But again, you got Gordon Rosens that's struggling too. As a custom player, he needs to be performing at a little bit higher of a clip. The offense is just not good, guys. You got Santana 196, 193. They are really struggling out here in Philadelphia. So let's see what you guys are saying. Sending Grayson down, growing pains. I think he needs a change of scenery. Keeping up there might be worse for him. I'd call Xander up. All right. I think you guys have made your decisions then. But who do you call down? I mean, who do you call up? Grayson Rodriguez goes down to AAA. Who do you call up? Ladwig? Parkinson? I think it's Parkinson. I'm just going to make the decision there. Parkinson, he's going to get the call. And on a bad team, we'll see how it goes. All right, we're going to move through this one really quickly. I'm not going to do much analysis here. We've got a whole Central and a West to do. We've officially hit the hour-and-a-half mark on the stream tonight. So Carolina, they're going to call down Tim Collins. 9 strikeouts, 8 walks. ERA and WHIP is pretty good, but he's going to get the call down, guys. Just this team doesn't have a lot of patience for bad relief pitching, so they're going to get the call down. And then we've got a guy here, custom prospect Joe Cheltenham. Take a look at the velo. Control and break not so good, but he's gonna flame throw it. What? The velocity is 93. Why does he have 93 fastball? Anyway, he's producing 252, 108. He's gonna get the call up. He will move to the bullpen, so he's gonna be that lefty specialist to take over for Tim Collins. I think that's a good move, and that's a move that they're gonna make. That's the only move that Carolina will make. Going over to Dallas. Some moves here. Yariel Gonzalez going to get moved down. He's a first baseman. 186 right now. For Alfonso Rivas. Now, you look at the peripheral numbers here. You look at the attributes. You're getting a little bit of a regression, right, when comparing. But I think you just look at the production. 329, 10 homers, 30 ribbies. Right? So he's going to get the call. Tristan Casas is not doing too poorly, but really what you're trying to do here is you're trying to get this B potential player in Yariel Gonzalez to actually get some progression. Alfonso Rivas isn't really doing a whole lot with the potential rating. He's not going to be moving up or zooming past Yariel Gonzalez, so might as well just let this guy go down, figure it out for himself, and then we'll go from there. But Leody Taveras going to get moved down. We got a center field. We got a logjam here with center field, outfield Kellenic, Nimmo, Bradley, Wilson, Taveras. It's kind of a logjam here. So Taveras, 123 at bats. He's playing more than Wilson. He's playing more than Bradley, and he's just not quite cutting it. So 154. You gotta do something with that, and they will end up calling up Kyle Friedrichs, which I believe is a relief pitcher. Where is Kyle Friedrichs here? No, he's a starting pitcher. There you go. So he's getting at 4-1, 38 Ks, 17 walks. He's doing all right. I think they need some help pitching-wise. You got Jensen at a 6.2. You could have made the argument for Jensen to go down, but I think that that's the move for Dallas. Let's move over here to Nashville. What do we got going here for Nashville? We've got an outfielder getting called up. We've got, I believe all these guys are outfielders, actually. So we are going to be moving up Tommy Murphy. Jeez, look at the speed numbers. The offense is pretty solid. Production, 265. Yeah, he's hot. We're going to give him the call up. And it's been a tough call, but Simon Muzziotti, he does kind of what the other guy's doing, right? He kind of does what Tommy Murphy does. But again, you just get into the mix of, we need you to kind of work through whatever you got going on. Look at the power numbers, 25-22 compared to Murphy at 65. He could be a nice little runners in scoring position, pinch hitter type. I think Tommy Murphy can produce in that situation. But we've also got Garrett Kemmerly getting the call up here too. Look at the contact numbers, 73 and 80. If you want to compare him to Muzziotti, 61-54, I think that's the move you make. Really. This is when you're trying to compare what you're losing and what you're gaining as a total package. I think the Nashville Heat are gaining here in this situation. And then Tyler Ramirez, even though Ramirez is producing at 273, is it sustainable? When you look at the attribute circle here, I don't think that it is. 2567C compared to 2369B and 2267B. So they basically just turned this around and called up some guys with some higher potential. And with Muzziotti, he's just got to figure it out. So I think Nashville made some good moves in the outfield. And we're going to move over here to the Houston Copperheads. And we're almost finished up here, guys. I know that we've lost some interest, but it's okay. We're almost done. Spencer Turnbull pitching well. Got JT Ginn struggling. Anthony Banda is going to be the guy that gets called down, though. He got 14 strikeouts, 18 walks, 5.90, 207. He's a goner. Can't have that. And then they're going to replace him with Jonathan Bolin. 51 Ks, 18 walks. The production is there. He gets the call. And we're going to move over to the swing. Andrew Triggs. Sir, please stand up. 11.74. Bad. Got to get fixed up. And who are they going to call up? There's a couple guys that you can make the argument for, but they're going to do it with this guy. 35 and 10, 236, Ruanzi Contreras. 64 B potential, 22 age. He's going to be all right. He's going to be solid. Another, I think we got a move here. Yes, we do. So we got Ben Bowden, 17 strikeouts, 5 walks, 4.32. Not necessarily cutting it there. So they're also going to call up this guy, Kenneth Cortez. Kind of the same situation with what we saw with Santa Fe. Guy with literally no control, but with the walks per 9, K per 9, he's actually pretty solid. 19 years old. He's going to slide in. Probably being limited use because he is a 63. We'll see how he does. Make some changes after that. St. Louis. St. Louis. What do we got? We got AJ Puck and Mark Payton being the two guys that get called down, guys. And AJ Puck is actually a reliever here, I believe. Am I on the right team? No. St. Louis Maroons. Colin Wiles. Look at Colin Wiles here. 7.43 in 36 innings, 1-6. 27 years old. He's gone. And they're going to replace him with Matt Hall, 69B. And you can see just the differential. Again, I love looking at the differential. Just shows how effective that they are. 53 and 19 with a low ERA, low whip. He gets the call. And this one is something that I felt like needed to happen just based on what we saw in gameplay. Chafe Strump really not cutting it, not getting it done offensively. He's young. He'll figure it out. But 200 batting average, he's gonna go down for this player here, Abraham Toro, who can also play second base. Very valuable, 70A, power, vision, fielding. I think this is the move for them. Toro's going to come up. He's probably going to play second base. He's literally going to slide in and take that spot. Maybe Wendell, I think, plays second. Donovan can play second. Maybe Toro's the bench guy. Actually, I think I'd prefer that. They're definitely way better. Wendell, Donovan. Those are your two infielders there at third and second. So Toro can kind of be that bench guy, give these guys a day off. But now we're moving on to the West. This is our last division. 5 teams to cover, and then we're done. AJ Puck and Edward Cabrera. Take a look at Edward Cabrera's numbers. 46 and 18. The potential is there. 22 years old. We know everything about Edward Cabrera. Heavy fastball, slider that bites. Good movement. I think he's going to be a solid player for this team. They definitely need all the help they can get. So Edward Cabrera gets called up. He will slide to the bullpen because Puck not getting a lot of opportunities here. Not a very good production, not very good performance there, so he's going to get called down. And then outfielder-wise, you've got Mark Payton. Mark Payton somehow taking a job away from Lamont Wade Jr. 7 steals, 12 ribbies, 125, the starter at AAA level. I just think it makes sense. A potential player at 28, there's no reason Mark Payton needs to be called up there. So Lamont Wade is going to get the call. Coyotes. 3 more teams. They are going to be making a move at pitcher, and Matt Cannittaro is going to get the call down. 38 and 20, 6.16. Everybody's ERA is pretty high at Colorado right now. Chad Kuhl in the 7s, Brendan McKay at 4.9, Joey Lucchesi, the only guy that's really been effective. But they're going to give Jared Schuster a chance. 53 Ks, 16 walks. It's like just throwing whatever at the wall, see what sticks, and we'll figure that out from there. But let's take a look at the infield situation for Colorado. They have Jalen Miller, who's hitting 211 and 38 at bats. He's just not getting any playing time. He's stuck behind Yanni Hernandez, Esteury Ruiz, definitely not getting any playing time at 4 at bats. But he's a little bit better of a contact hitter. He doesn't have as much power, but he might be even a little bit better of a defender. So really, Jalen Miller is kind of the guy that needs to be moved down, in my opinion, and give Esteury Ruiz the job with Yanni Hernandez. They'll split time at second base. But the move that they're going to make is Austin Martin, hitting 308 right now and 52 at bats. A potential, drafted not too long ago. Obviously a really good hitter, good college prospect. He can also play center field, which is a position, in my mind, they need a little bit more depth in with the outfield. You got Eddie Rosario here, 183. Davis, 293. Myers and Ramirez, 227 for Will Myers, 267 for Harold Ramirez. You could probably make that move. You got 2, 3, 4 outfielders right now, and then a shortstop that can play second, play short, slide into the outfield. You can kind of be that. He can kind of be that guy that you mix and match with some things. So Austin Martin would be a nice player for them. Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco. 3 teams left, and we are going to focus on relief pitching for the Knights. And I look at this guy, Jimmy Cordero, 13 strikeouts, 16 walks, 22 innings. I don't like that. I don't like that ratio. I don't like having more walks than strikeouts. This just doesn't give you the job. It doesn't give you the confidence either. So he's going to get the call down. We are going to call up for Jimmy Cordero. We're going to call up Antonio Santos. Look at these numbers here, guys. Yes, the D potential. But really, when you look at what LA needs, they need some stuff. They need some stuff in the back end of the bullpen. I think that Santos is going to give them that. Look at the 96 velo, 71 control, 71 break. Look at the pitching repertoire. 4-seam, slider, sinker, change, curve. Can do it all. Think he's a perfect back end, if not a closer. I mean, look at what Jimmy Gerber's doing at closer. 13 Ks, 10 walks. I think they might have something here with Antonio Santos if he wants to get in to be their closer eventually. So that's a good move for them, I feel like. Ryan Braun is a funny case, man. Ryan Braun is a funny case. He has not played. He does not have a single at-bat in 2 months. And at 38 years old, I think it's just time that we just kind of say, he doesn't have it anymore, right? He doesn't have it anymore. So they're going to actually call up an infielder in place of Ryan Braun because they have so much depth in the outfield. They got Brinson, 383, Basabe, Acuna, Conforto, Castellanos. That makes up your outfield. And then you got Janio Rivera in there who slides in on his non-pitching days. He's a two-way player. He slides in the outfield as well. So really, in my opinion, you need somebody in the infield that can play a little bit. You got Yurchak who can play both the corner infield spots at third and first. And he's not doing too bad at 286, so they're going to give him the call. They feel like this extends the lineup out a little bit more, gives them more depth, and it just helps them out for sure. Two more teams, one move apiece. Buck Farmer for Dennis Santana. But we see Gonsolin, Gonzalez. These guys are two stud pitchers in this league. Bumgarner's a nice number 3. Casey Lawrence, 3.7, 1.2. Arrieta pitching nice, coming over from the major leagues to the GGBL. Yeah, these San Diego Defenders are pitching well, man. Dennis Santana, though, this is the guy that's getting called up. 2.77, 1.08, and he is going to replace Buck Farmer in the bullpen. And we'll take a look at his numbers here through 22 innings. 5.6. It's time to go, Buck. 31-year-old, deep potential. Smart move, in my opinion. San Francisco Grizzlies. We are going to be calling down Julian Fernandez. And this is a reliever, I believe. Yes, so he's a reliever. 6 2/3, kind of a tough talk to have. You know, you didn't get a lot of opportunity, but they feel like he's going to get more opportunity down at the AAA level. And we're going to call up instead Gerson Garabito, which is a starting pitcher. And it just kind of helps them do a little spot starting here a little bit here and there. You got Hunter Green, who's in the bullpen right now. You got your starting 5 here with Glasnow, Chirinos, Rennie, Swanson, Bede. That's your 5. Green gets pushed to the pen. Hess gets pushed to the pen. That's really what he did for Phoenix last year. Had a really good year, having a better year in San Francisco right now. But you know, they like what that theory, that methodology is, and they're going to pull it off here too. He's just pitching well, man. You can't argue it. So give him the call, give him the chance, give him the opportunity. And that is your June call-ups and call-downs, guys. And we'll have the roster sheet for the GGBL all updated with all these moves for you guys to go and check out if you needed to. Let's take a look at the chat and see if you guys have anything that you want to cover with custom prospect statistics, awards races, and then we'll end tonight's stream. I'll just start off with the awards races while you guys kind of think about it in the chat, but you can kind of let me know. Little update here with the awards. We got Soto hitting 450, Tommy La Stella 382, Conforto 342 for National League MVP. Looking over here at the AL MVP, we got Frankie Lindor 319, Winker hitting 353, Mookie Betts. So some major league talent. Go figure. Wrecking the league. Mookie Betts 11-33. Cy Young race, Espino. Whoa, Espino 6-1, 395. So it's the record and the strikeouts, because otherwise I'd probably be going with Max Fried, in my opinion. 5-1, 62. Bitsko. This was awesome to see, because we know Pittsburgh has a really good pitching staff, but 6-1, 295, 47. He needs to up that strikeout number, and I think he might be in more of a consideration for the trophy. But we'll take a look at the NL here. Wes Benjamin, who I believe is a reliever. He's a reliever at 10-2, getting a lot of decisions right now. In the Cy Young race, it's crazy to me. Why are we not giving it to Shane Bieber? MLB The Show, come on now. 5-2 versus 10-2, but 183, 91 Ks. And then Tyler Glasnow's sitting there as well, saying, "What about me?" So is a reliever actually going to win the Cy Young Award? I don't know. Let's look at the Rookie of the Year, and then we'll be done with the awards because I want to get into your guys' statistics. We got Luigi Mazza for the NL in the lead. We got Buddy Kidd, Michael Ruth. It's gonna be a close battle, right? It's gonna be really close. I'm actually surprised that Ruth is even up on this list at a 269. Both these guys are hitting really well, Mazza and Kidd. But yeah, I'd probably lean towards Mazza right now at the good average, the 6 homers, 22 ribbies. I'd definitely give it to Mazza right now as it stands, but you can see the difference. You can see the difference here. You got Bendito Ramirez at 340 as a rookie, 8 homers, 25 ribs against Mazza and the other guys here at 295, 306. I think it is what it is, man. Bendito, 340. Bo Callaway finally getting a chance this season. Did not play in year 1. He is a year 1 prospect, but he didn't get his chance. He's a Discord prospect. Didn't get a chance, but now he is, and he's producing. And then Angelo Ruth coming in this season at a 284. So I don't think it's close right now. I think this is, even though there's a list, 1, 2, 3, I think the spread right now between Bendito, Bo, and Angelo is way in favor of Bendito Mania. I think that's just a clear-cut winner right now. Now, Bendito could struggle in the second half. He could go downward, but I think it's not very likely. All right, so we had one request, it looks like. We want to see Ronnie Dominguez and Alexander King. So Ronnie Dominguez is on the Portland Pioneers. He is 268, 1 homer, and 9 ribbies. And we'll go over to Josh Adams because I see that comment. Josh Adams is 333 and 9 at-bats. So he's got 3 hits. 3 hits, 2 runs scored, 2 walks. He's chipping in a little bit. I think the presence of Colton Welker is kind of eating into his playing time a little bit. Mikey White is getting the call. It's hard to bench him, man. 317, 5 homers, and he did well last year, all things considered. So the minute that Mikey White starts to struggle, though, you can bet that Josh Adams is definitely going to start getting the call. Alexander King, AL East. This is something we wanted to talk about. What is going on with Alexander King? 165, 3 homers, 8 ribbies, 2 months of gameplay. Simulation. 2 months. I don't know what to say. I'm actually speechless. -3, -6, -4. He's seeing major regression right now. And compared to what he did last year, it is night and day. 310 last year, 27 ribbies, 97 RBIs. He's not on pace for that anymore. Pending some huge, crazy production swing, King could reach close. I don't think he's going to get there, in my opinion. But we'll see. Connor Altman for Pittsburgh. Should have went the other way. Pittsburgh, Connor Altman, 266, 4 homers, 13 ribbies, 4 steals. He's kind of that well-rounded, do-it-all type of first baseman. I love to see it. I think he can play outfield too. There you go. So he can play a little bit of outfield. He's doing fine. I'm impressed with Pittsburgh right now. Even though they're in second place in the AL East, I think they're doing all right. Let's see. Kenneth Alexander Jr. I think we covered him a little bit earlier. He is 322, 8 homers, 28 ribbies, 7 steals. He's like Connor Altman times 2. So he's really been the driving factor, along with Jed Jerko, in this offense right now for Seattle. So they're making quite a big push here, trying to make that push against Phoenix. And I think they're going to do it. I do. I think they're going to get there. Jumbo Candyman 258, Franco 280, Amaya 300, Peraza, Calhoun doing well, double-digit homers, 28 ribbies, Dominguez 292, Ian Happ 329, Bonifacio 2. So this offense, this pitching staff, it's all coming together for Seattle. It's just, it happens to happen at the wrong time for them. They got Phoenix that's just like soaring. The Firebirds are soaring right now. And Emeralds and Nuggets are just kind of, they have to chase them. And, you know, I just feel like eventually it's going to come to a head. And I think the better team is going to win out, and that's Seattle. I think that's going to happen. So, guys, that's going to be it for the stream tonight. went over some standings, went over the June call-ups and call-downs. Next week's episode is not going to be like this, I promise you, because we won't have that much to talk about with each and every single team with call-ups and call-downs, so that's not going to happen. September's episode might get to that point. I'm trying to think of some ways that we can cut it down a little bit. But, overall, I think it was a good little stream. Got you guys updated on everything that's happening around the league. And went over some fantasy predictions. Went over standing statistics. Silver Slugger awards, Gold Glove awards. It's kind of like, it's too early for that. We need to get into that kind of stuff more like in the second half when those statistics are really starting to kind of separate from everybody. But yeah, that's it. That's it for tonight. Leave a like on the video if you like this thing. And don't let me forget the stream schedule. So little outro here for you guys today. So the stream schedule, usually at 4 p.m. on Twitch on Fridays. That's when I go live with these games. It's going to have to be pushed to 6 o'clock on Friday night for us to start, which means less games that are going to be shown. I'm at a work function, so we have an event that's happening, so I can't actually get home until like 5:30. So 6 o'clock, I'm going to try to get it going at 6. If it's 6:30, it's going to have to be 6:30. But the streaming schedule, if I can pull it up here really quick, is going to be kind of like what you saw in order on the Fantasy Challenge forum. 6 o'clock is going to be Portland and Miami. 7 o'clock, LA and Phoenix. 8 p.m. primetime game, we got Seattle and Las Vegas. 9 p.m. Houston Copperheads and Indiana Rams. 10 p.m. Columbus Cardinals and Nashville Heat. Should be a good one, good pitching matchup there. And then 11 p.m. for the nightcap will be New Orleans and Colorado. So I did not cover Colorado and Las Vegas in the last episode because it did get late, but I definitely do want to cover this one at 11 o'clock p.m. It's all Eastern Standard Time. So guys, that's it. That's all I got. Leave a like if you like this thing. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know it was a little long, but there's a lot to cover. It's 30 teams. 30 teams, so many players, 25 people each. It's a lot, man. So you guys are real troopers for hanging in there, but that is going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you on Friday for the Twitch live streams, and then back here on YouTube on Monday for the highlight reel, and Wednesday again next week for Week 3's podcast. So guys, again, leave a like if you like this thing. I'll see you in the next one. As always, thank you for watching, and peace.